but there are those situations where, like Spank said, it went down. Like you said, it was that shit that come from the jailhouse and shit. You know,
random,
all the way down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like the youngsters had like big, brothers that were from 18, or it was like an older influence for sure. It's like we didn't come up with that,
Yeah, because I noticed, man, most of my homeboys that bang, right, they always had Mexican homeboys. You know what I'm saying? But then when the gang shit come in, it's like they almost gotta just make a choice. You feel what I'm saying?
I mean, shit. That's like being in prison, nigga.
Right.
When it's time to go down, it has to. You know what I'm saying? There is no like, oh man, I was cool with homie on the street and shit like.
It's program time,
It's program time.
Systemic, goes back to the same thing. Systemic.
Mm-hmm.
They want us to be like that, though.
Yeah, for sure.
It has to be like that. It's all systemic,
For sure, because at the end of the day, we all fighting for the same shit: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
We all got the same indifferences, homie. So yeah, that was, those were the challenges I think growing up as a youth. I had a great childhood. Though my parents they tried their best, and they were very responsible. Like they owned they owned the house right there in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Just influences and just things that the Western culture, introduced us to that. It just happened to be that way. So
now you had brothers and sisters?
I had small sister and then a baby brother. At the time I was most active, and I couldn't really have a relationship with them because my parents were in fear at that point, after a shooting, because I got shot at, and I got shot at plenty of times. I got hit once with a shotgun.
How old were you when that happened?
Probably my early 20s, maybe, something like that.
Oh, so your mama wasn't trying to see you around your little brothers? Hell no.
Yeah, so I couldn't have a relationship with my siblings. It was tough to go out with them or go to the Fox Hills Mall with them. No way. They'd be like, nah, no way. So it was tough,
Yeah.
Yeah, navigating was a little difficult, in that sense.
And so I want to go to the music real quick. When did the rap bug catch you, kinda?
I was in prison. I remember being in prison, and I signed up to program with different clubs and shit. And I programmed with the Raza Club. And the Raza Club, they played rap and stuff, but it wasn't rap I was used to. I was used to South Central Cartel, MC Eiht, Dog Pound, Snoop, all the West Coast classics. I grew up on that, and Too Short, and early beginnings, E40, Too Short, Eiht. Cocaine, I remember Cocaine was an early influence when I was younger, and what was the question? My bad.
Oh yeah, what made you want to rap? You know what I'm saying? What made you want to get into rap?
So I think those are the
influences you had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most definitely. And when I was in prison, the homies were like, check this out. This is, you ever heard these guys? They're MB Riders and Conejo and, some of the legends of Chicano rap, or Chicano music, Chicano genre music, And that's when I first was like, okay. I wasn't too sold on it, I was a big fan of all the legends, here in my area. And
so you didn't feel that strong about Chicano rap in the beginning?
I wasn't sold on it too much. Nah, I wasn't. I was like, that's not our genre, that's not our game,
Right.
So that's, in my mind, I was like, nah. And so but I had a strong connection with West Coast music in all sense of the word. I remember playing AM radio just to hear K-Day. You feel me?
Right.
The debate was always do you like AM or FM? And I'd be like, AM? Fool, are you crazy?
Yeah, because K-Day was cracking.
No, but people would be like, no, but technically FM sounds better.
FM was clear. They had the powerful motherfucking antennas.
Yeah.
You get me? But
and you could hear Phil Collins, and all this pop music, Michael Jackson, all this. But
my nigga said you could hear Phil Collins. You could hear you some Michael Jackson,
Aerosmith,
Prince.
But you couldn't hear MC Eiht. You couldn't hear cocaine.
Do you think?
You couldn't hear none of that.
They did that on purpose, though?
You know what I'm saying?
Like, cause you know FM had, like he said, FM had the clear motherfucking stations.
And AM was like
Benatar loud and clear as fuck. But nigga, you turn the last motherfucking number on AM, and you get, like I said, nigga, especially on a Saturday night, nigga, that motherfucking shit is staticky as hell. You might hear some blend of Mexican band music and coming through, because it was crossing. You had to have your shit set up right. You had to move the antenna, maybe put some motherfucking foil
you know what
on
it was?
that shit.
It's hip hop was so new at the time.
It was taboo.
Yeah, and that was the first hip hop. That was the first 24-hour hip hop station. So they got the little cheap. They got the cheap signal. You know, the AM signal, and it was cracking. But look at what that built to today, though.
Yeah.
You know, by all means, that was my early introduction. I mean, I'd go to World on Wheels to listen to music or to meet some of the DJs, or like that was my era. You feel me? Like, so I was very familiar with a lot of the early beginnings, going to Redondo and seeing the mixtapes. My dad would take me to Redondo, and then the Korean dude had all the mixtapes and all the. I mean, you don't get more West Coast than that. Like,
so you gravitated more to what we consider, just regular hip hop, not being labeled as, because we didn't call our shit black rap. You get me? We was just rap music. Yeah. You get me? You know how they got Chicano rap, and we was just rap music. So you know.
Well, I think that's how it should be, and I don't have no problem, because I got a couple of homies, that's real cool homies, the Chicano rappers, and I ask them sometimes, like, do y'all really like, some of them like having that tag of being, classified this, Chicano rap, which ain't nothing wrong with, but then I got some of them that's like, no, homie, just call me a rapper.
It's the same, you're like tokenized, you feel me? Like, as a Mexican, you're like, that's y'all type of rap, that's your lane, but really I think Tommy said it best, like, rap is rap.
Yeah,
we didn't say black rap, Mexican rap,
we didn't,
Asian rap. Like, if you're gonna label one thing, you might as well label everything.
Like when I said, when I first heard Kid Frost, I didn't go like, oh, that's SA rap, or that's La Raza rap. That nigga, that was just a rap song to me.
I just thought it was a dope ass record.
Dope record. So for me, I think because like the inner city, the swap meets, the CD boom was huge for us, and the swap meets were a big market, and because it was labeled that way, like I kind of like, I say, if you labeled me a Chicano rapper, I wouldn't mind, because the Chicano game been hella good to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't got no shame in that. Like I've been able to travel the world, doing that. Like, connect with solid homies, work with legends, and I never in a million years, being that youngster growing up in that area and, like absorbing and emulating that, to be working with the legends, that's huge to me. That was everything, Yeah,
because you don't put out a gang of projects. How many albums you got out? Like maybe 10, 11?
Now, just a couple of albums, but I have a lot of singles, and I have a lot of
compilations and stuff.
And I have a lot of collabs and things. So I've been crafty when it comes to, if I don't have an album, like I want to have an album, I'm gonna have something, an EP, or I'll have something. So I try to be consistent. This last year I've been doing nonprofit work, so I haven't been motivated to be in the studio up until like a few months ago. And once I started getting back in the studio, it's been nonstop. It's like I needed that year off to do that community work and stuff.
Yes, and I noticed that's real important to you.
Yeah, homie, I never it's like I always wanted to do it, and I was always worried like the homies are gonna clown on me.
Right.
The homies are gonna, they're gonna say something about me, or they're gonna, like put me down for it. And it was always like, let me not even bring it up, helping my community, because it's like, it was so ridiculous to think in one way we destroying the community, but then it's like I'm trying to find some reparations in there somehow. It just didn't make sense. Some of the homies I already knew that where their heart was, and I thought, no, the topic I'm not even gonna try to touch. You know what I mean? But like in my core, I've always wanted to, do things. So little by little, gradually, I start doing homeless feeds, or I do like for Christmas for a few years, I was getting out blankets and doing a couple things with my kids and things. And then now, because I've been in Washington for the last 2.5 years, 3 years. Out there, I've been. You could see there's less brown people, and so like the treatment like towards brown people is more like visibly disrespectful. Like you could see where people's intentions and their heart is, and inclusion and culture and all of that is not in some people's heart or mind. But like in this day and age, you gotta have identity and you gotta connect with something in order to build as a community. You feel me? Like you can't take away people's identity and then expect them to be comfortable in an area that they're not familiar with or have no connection to or not proud of. Then you want to be like someone else, and that's not healthy. You feel me?
Yeah, because right now it seems like in America it's a lot of stuff going on. Like people are talking about more restrictions on the border, start tightening up on the border security. And I think the first people they always look at and point the finger at are the Mexican people and say, well, it's them, when it's not just Mexican people. I saw where they had some Saudi Arabian people coming through and people from all over the place. And I think at the end of the day, it's just people that want to make a better life for themselves, man.
Right. It's just easier like to point the finger at Mexicans. Like it's just way easier because we've been here like a long time, homie. Like this is, people be like, oh, this used to be Mexico and this and that. So it goes to show you, like, for a long time, there's been a lot of connection here with Latinos, with Mexicans, and I think because we're so deep rooted, it's like we correlate with the economy being not great for us. And so when the economy's not great for us, then you got to resort to other things. You feel me? Like anywhere else. And crime is a major part of it. When you have kids to feed and you ain't got no options and you're segregated, you're put in a barrio or you're put in a ghetto or you're put in a place where you're like, you have to be confined to those restrictions of not making money, having cheap things, having alcohol and liquor and cigarettes accessible and drugs and this lifestyle that's only destroying us, and we're not being lifted. There's no like generational wealth. There's no like reparation funds for none of us, homie. It's like you gotta be smart enough to say like, I gotta think about property, think about investing, think about generational wealth for my kids, because there's nothing here for you. The system ain't made like that. So you gotta think outside the box, you feel me? And I think that's where music, rap, art, graffiti, tattooing comes in, because we're using what we got. We're using what we got to get it, to get it, to get out there, to take our kids out there. And
it was frowned upon for so long and shit, because you see now a lot of shit that we crafted and was artistically ours, it's acceptable to them today.
Yeah, they don't turn into a multi-million-dollar business.
Right.
they can make feria,
When we were pushing this agenda to begin with, they made it so fucking hard for us. You get me? Whatever it may have been. A fucking idea you had, a fucking record, a rap song, being on TV, you know what I'm saying, acting and roles and just every kind of thing. It seems like when we tried to push the agenda to let a motherfucker know what artistic value we had, it was always, shunned. Like,
Yeah, it was. And,
fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Or let's ban that shit, or let's shut it down, or if we can't steal it, or if we can't motherfucking make bread off of it because we don't understand it, then it's basically wrong. And then you look in this crazy, you look up, like you said, with rap music, with all our shit, you look up 50 years later and motherfucker, everybody rapping. You get me?